You are now listening to the Trebla Art Podcast. What's up, everyone? It's Albert Gonzalez, and I'm here with my good friend.
Hello, everybody. I'm Luke Martinez. I'm like artist persona, go by Luma.
So some of you probably already follow me on Instagram, and it's Trebla Art. And if you're not familiar with Luke, definitely get familiar with him. You can follow him at...
Yes, my Instagram handle is Luma _ Say Texas, like SATX, and that's where you can find me at all my upcoming shows and things of that nature.
So it's so crazy, right? Like imagine, back in the day, if you were to meet an artist and you think like they're amazing or their work's amazing, it's like, how do I get in touch with you then? It was like, oh, I'll give you my phone number, I'll give you my address.
Trade sketchbooks.
Yeah, dude. Like, I remember when we first met, I was like blown away, dude.
Yes.
And I had to own
a couple years ago, like.
Yeah, two years ago.
Yeah.
And I bought one of your small pieces, and you also had one of your larger wood panels.
Yes, that was at a Brick at Blue Star here in San Antonio, Texas, in the Cultural Arts District. And I was actually closing up shop, I think, and that was like the last thing I was working on because I was doing portraits that day. And I usually just like have a little drawing as I'm waiting for people to sort of die down. So that was one I was working on throughout the night, and it came out actually pretty well. And then you came and you're like, you have anything left? And I was like, I have this drawing left. And you ended up liking it, and I was like, I got you. And you ended up taking it, which is extremely awesome to me. I appreciate that.
That was the beginning, dude.
Yeah, that's where it started.
And now we have.
And even before then, I would like come and visit your galleries, like without during Second Saturday, I would come in here and like take a look around at the shows. It's always been awesome. And
you ever question yourself about like, if I was an artist in the 70s or 80s, like how do you ever think about like how your career would be, or is it something you just?
Oh man, I've actually never really thought about it. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that before. I'm not exactly too sure about that, or I think it would definitely be different because of there's like different problems and issues happening during those times. My work is very like relevant and like issues and just like things that are happening in real time around my life at the moment. So I guess the answer would be yes, it would be different. I guess it would just kind of reflect the times that are happening in that little time frame.
I asked that because I tend to have like these really weird thoughts and dreams, and these are sometimes questions I ask myself, and I kind of enjoy just thinking about like what would I speak about, because we have the luxury of having history books, so like we could actually think about like what would you say if you were at Woodstock.
Like, exactly. And I was also going to say something like and also like even when it comes down to the type of drugs people were doing at the time, I think that all like has an impact on your overall output of the imagery that you're creating.
Right. In the 70s, you could have an art show and just have someone just tripping out.
Yeah. Exactly.
It was like normal. Yeah, dude, that's pretty funny.
Exactly. So
we met 2 years ago. Right now we have Chaos Within inside of the Southtown Art Gallery, and
shout out to Southtown Art Gallery too
for those of you listening. Actually, it's probably the last week that you could actually come by and see the show.
Yes.
But it was such a great response. I think especially from the first opening night.
Absolutely.
When we had this little walkthrough, people were like really confused.
Yeah, there was a vast range of different emotions. People were sort of actually. It sounds so funny to say, but some people were actually frightened to go in, like a little timid, like there's this like essentially like a rat hole that I had created for the entrance of the show, and people were genuinely kind of like thrown off by it a little bit. It was like something a little different, which was good, which was a good thing. Like seeing that thing there definitely was something that people weren't necessarily used to, and it kind of made people a little nervous or upset, but some people really enjoyed it too. So it was awesome to see like everybody's reactions on that.
I think the interesting part about that entrance was, people were, they were surrendering to the art. Like, you know, when was the last time you went into a art installation or an art exhibition where you had to like really duck down to enter?
Yes. For those listening, basically what that was all about was I basically created like for I guess lack of a better term, a maze that you could sort of walk in and get lost into. And so whenever you're entering the show, you're basically enwrapped in essentially like one of my paintings that I had dedicated like the whole aesthetic of the show in. So it was basically like you were inside of the work and you were experiencing chaos within, which is the title of the show. And yeah, so I thought it did a really good job of that. Like, yeah.
It was cool because it was hidden.
Yeah, it was hidden. Yeah. And so we had to, and that was also kind of cool. Like we were, it was exactly what it was. It was hidden.
You know, one of the questions that I received, me, Caroline, and Anthony, and Destiny, that all help Southtown Art Gallery run, is what do the red circles mean? Yeah. What do the red circles mean? We heard that like 100 times.
I actually also heard that myself. Yeah. The red circles, they do a couple of things for my work. For one of them, it's just kind of like a stylized like approach that I have, just to get people familiar of like, oh, I see that circle and I can identify that with myself, and they can see that. And I usually try and do that not only with like my more fine artworks, but with my more playful characters that I use in my sketchbooks. And so I kind of try and keep that circle consistent as a sort of like almost like a subliminal signature, if you will. Mm-hmm. But also they are red circles just because like when I was really young, like I had received like a Norman Rockwell book, and he had always like had these like really rosy red cheeks and stuff like that. And so if anybody's familiar with my work, it's my faces are kind of like complete and not complete at the same time. And so, like I said, the circles do multiple things. So they represent like rosy red cheeks, if you will, just to give like like I said, a stylized approach, and to just resemble rosy red cheeks, because the cheeks is supposed to be there. And I'm inspired by artists like Norman Rockwell that have made of like an emphasis on that part of the face. Mm-hmm. And I also work with like a limited color palette in a lot of my work, so it gives like this nice refreshing color to like a really limited color palette. So it gives something like a little bit of a distraction, a little bit of a breather, so it's not just so black and white or like just like neutral colors. That red circle really gives the eye a break from just like the mundane, like not necessarily mundane colors, but my limited color palette. So it gives like a little refreshing, like it's like easier on the eyes, and you travel like throughout up and down the painting, and you always end up like coming back to the face, which is kind of like my main subject of the work. Like,
so I know you say that you got a lot of influence from like Norman Rockwell, but what other artists? Because as I see it, I understand now too with Circle and Norman Rockwell, but like, what else played influence?
I'm actually not the only one that has done this before. Actually, my favorite artist who I'm like most influenced by is actually a German artist. His name is Charlie Iso. And I first discovered his work in the Juxtaposed magazine, and I was like heavily influenced by the artists. And in that magazine, I subscribed for a couple of years and fell in love with all the artists. And but Charlie Iso was definitely the one, and he was actually my first Juxtaposed magazine that I ever purchased. Excuse me. And he would do something similar. He would like do these. Just to compare and contrast, I do like a very almost simple, very just like one line circle, but he would do these huge, like maybe like with a 2-inch brush circle, like, and he does a little bit bigger paintings, but he would do like huge circles, like right around the same area in the cheek. And I guess like the little bit of like a little kid in me just like would always identify with that, or I just thought it was very interesting, so I tried to incorporate that in my work, but with my own style, and do it my way.
What was his name again?
Charlie Iso. And I've been trying to keep up with him, but I honestly, like, every time I try and Google his name, it's like a lot of the same old work.
You ever tried to email
Not yet. No, not yet.
Should email him.
Yeah, I should try and figure that out. But like I said, I've been trying to see like his newer works, or it appears that maybe he's just going under another alias or anything along those lines. But I kind of find it hard to find like new works. Every time I do a Google search, it's like I see the same images like I've seen like since high school, or like maybe he's going under another alias, or I don't know what it is. But
the best thing to do is find like like his official website, or maybe even a source that might know him personally, or whatever, and try to get his direct email. I've been really fortunate enough to like send emails out and get replies.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Dude,
yeah.
Those are like really cool.
That's another thing. Like people, I mean, I guess like from like an audience perspective, and people tell me this too. Actually, like at the level that I am, I actually get people that ask me like, how do you get these shows? Like, how are you out here? Or, how did you get this gallery show? This and that. And just like how you had mentioned, like you'd be surprised how like open people are to respond, and yeah, you just got to go ahead in there and reach out, and then things happen.
Well,
like people
you
respond.
saw me
like,
when I got my email.
Yeah,
for New York.
I was there. Yeah, for New York. Yeah,
like, and I told you that story too. It's like, man, if I would have never just made the
just reached out,
and just asked and introduced myself, like that would have never happened. And a lot of people, you get it too, like you said, oh, how do you do this? How do you do that? I tell people is, just being ready for the opportunities. Yeah. Like other people could be, lazy and say, you know what, I'm not busy right now, so I'm going to just relax, or, I'm going to worry about other things.
Yeah.
But when you stay focused, yeah, you might not be selling a lot or doing a lot of shows, but if you just stay on task, someone's going to give you an opportunity, and sometimes someone's just going to, just ask you for a studio visit.
Absolutely.
and if you're not ready for it, then,
That is definitely the mentality that I always sort of pursue, because, in life, everybody is just so busy, and it's sort of hard to imagine yourself like, we're gonna wait.
Oh no! Well, I'm just letting everybody know. So the studio is right next to the train tracks here on South Flores, and the train's going by right now. But continue.
You can hear the room rumbling right now.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? We were talking about
the opportunities and being ready for opportunities.
Yes. So, yeah. I forgot exactly what I was gonna say.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. I just kind of have to remember.
Yeah, the string gets really loud, but when you're trying to take a nap, it gets like really soothing.
Yeah, it's a soothing. It's not like a really aggressive. It's like more of a humming. It's not like really annoying.
So Germany, I guess for example, Germany happened, and you were prepared for that.
Yes, yeah. So okay, I remember now. Yeah, so in life we have all of these things like taken apart from what we love to do, and it's not necessarily like that. Say for instance, like you stop doing what you love to do for X amount of time. That situation happens to me quite often, where whether it's family or whether I have to go back to work or this and that. It feels like a little upsetting, because you feel like you're not doing what you love to do as often. But what I tell people all the time is that no matter what I'm doing, or no matter how long of a break I'm taking, I'm doing art. I tell people that I'm never gonna stop doing it. Like I'm never ever gonna just hard quit and just like throw in the towel like ever. Yeah. Like it's just like you said, like you just keep on doing it, and it's like pretty much almost a guarantee if you continue to do it that someone's gonna like reach out and recognize your work. And so that's definitely like the mentality that I have with it. But yeah.
So you got your trip to Germany.
Yes.
How was it?
Okay, for the audience, this past July, I was definitely blessed with the opportunity to visit the beautiful city of Darmstadt in Hessen, Germany, for actually a graffiti project. And so the city of San Antonio and the city of Darmstadt and I actually just learned this, San Antonio has what's called, in other cities as well, but San Antonio has its own what's called sister cities, and basically what these cities are, it's cities around the world like with similar economies, like similar like politics, etc., similar populations, reach out to each other and say like let's build a network, or like I can see some similarities within our cities. Let's try and get some people to network with each other. And actually, before I even left to Germany, San Antonio had actually brought somebody from Germany to come over here for Fiesta. He was a cook, and actually got to meet up with him in Germany. He was a cook that, and it's also an artist. I also got to visit his studio as well. I don't want to butcher his last name, but his first name is Frank. His name was Frank. He's an excellent person, and I can probably give you his last name over text, or maybe mention that. But I don't want to butcher his last name on the audio.
So did he cook for you?
No, he showed me his studio. He did take me to an authentic restaurant, a German restaurant. But yeah.
What'd you eat?
For the authentic German restaurant, it was we had schnitzel. I mean, and that was on my last day too. I didn't really like. I don't want to say I didn't eat authentic German food up until that point, but then that was on my last day, and for the rest of the week, we were eating like street food, at the graffiti show. They had like falafel, I would call them like falafel. I don't know what they call them over there, but it's basically like a falafel burrito, and some veggies in there with some falafel, and they have like something that street food that they absolutely loved. Everybody was crazy over was what's called a kebab, and for the listeners, it's sort of just like almost like a Mexican tostada, or almost like a sandwich in a way, but it had some beef in it, but in a certain sauce. There was like some dispute about who made it. Germany has like a huge Turkish population. So I think it has like a Turkish name, but like people say that the Germans invented it. But everybody eats it, everybody, they loved it, and it was delicious. It was absolutely delicious. So we were eating a lot of that street food, and I didn't really go to like an actual German pub until my last day, and Frank showed me around. And after we visited his studio, he took me to the restaurant, and it was delicious, and it was absolutely delicious.
How was the weather while you were there?
Oh, the weather was fantastic. My first 2 days there. Actually, might have been the first 3 days there, and it even rained on the day of the graffiti project, but only for a while. It was super rainy the first 2 days I was there, kind of cloudy, a little gloomy, but I like that weather. So I wasn't I like that weather here in town. Yeah. I like the weather, but after that was the first 3 days. It was nice and sunny, and even when it was really sunny, it was nice and crisp. And immediately when the sun went down, it would get really not really cold, but definitely what a lot of people wear over there is a nice windbreaker or something for both occasions. It's cool enough to wear a windbreaker in the daytime, but sometimes it'll get a little hot, not too crazy, but definitely in the night it would get colder. And so everybody had a certain type of windbreaker or something, a light hoodie or something like that.
So what exactly was the mission for that?
Yeah, so going back to the cities, San Antonio and Darmstadt are what's called sister cities. So they have similar population and economy, politics, etc. We reached out. Like I said, we had brought somebody from Germany over here to San Antonio to participate in a fiesta event here. And so I guess they wanted to return the favor. We had some representatives from Darmstadt come over to San Antonio, and city officials showed them around, and they eventually stumbled on this place called SACI. For those of you that don't know what SACI is, it's a nonprofit youth organization that I was involved in since middle school through high school. And basically it's an outlet for kids to sort of experience essentially a gallery experience. They give you a theme of the month, and after the end of every month they throw a show for the kids, and they have an opportunity to sell their work. A little bit of that goes to SACI, but they also get a piece of that as well. So at an early age they sort of realize or start turning on the idea in the youth's mind that it's possible to be successful as an artist, and this is how you do it, and we'll give you the tools to make an art, make your art successful or have deeper meanings behind that.
And you're also like a mentor for some of those students.
Yeah, actually, I was a mentor, and still to this day, like my old students, like we recognize, and I see them out in San Antonio and doing their thing, and it's like really quite awesome. They're still making art, and whenever I go out to their shows or see them out, they're always super excited, and I'm super proud of those people as well.
Man, that's so cool. Yeah. To like to be a mentor, for a kid, and I was saying this yesterday.
Yeah.
That sometimes we see and we meet artists, and we could see their potential, and we could foresee their accomplishments.
Yeah.
And maybe not the exact way they pan out, but that they're destined for greater things.
Yeah.
To actually see them work towards that, or be able to experience them in a solo exhibition or a group exhibition, and see the progression.
That's special.
The work. It's yes.
And I feel the same way with my mentors there. Like for those like for lack of a better term, like fans, like because I was a fan of my mentor, and that's the way I feel like with my students. Like my mentors were amazing, incredible, like insane artists of like an insane skill caliber, and so it was me looking up to them, like, and trying to like not necessarily be better than them, but like them realizing that my potential, and like I can be doing more, or like and them just giving me the advice or the techniques to get where I wanted to be. Mm-hmm. And so whenever I see them out, I'm just like, wow, like I still have a long way to go because they've been there. And that's the beauty of SAC. It trickles down generation to generation. Everybody like had somebody they looked up to, and that cycle continues to happen.
And so the artist life, it isn't easy.
No, it is not.
It's not easy. So
it's
you
not
don't have
easy.
to be an artist,
yeah.
But for all the other small business owners or business owners in general out there that know the frustration and the hard work and dedication and passion, you have to have for that. It's tremendous, and
absolutely.
We're lucky to be able to connect with a lot of people, and
a wide range of people too, like youth, like older adults, and
getting all these different interactions, and people that do have jobs too. Like we interact with each other. Right? It's amazing. But as an artist, we make ourselves a little bit more vulnerable.
Yeah. No, it is. Yeah.
But,
I agree.
But so how did you get into?
Yeah. Okay. So back to the story. So in middle school, I guess like all artists can sort of like give you this similar story. Like I started, doing art when I was a young kid, very very young. Like ever since I could remember, pretty much I always had colors or like my own little sketchbook and draw superheroes, whatever. Anyways, during middle school, I was in for my electives. I obviously chose art, and I had this one art teacher, Miss Brooks. Shout out to Miss Brooks at Pelham Middle School. I don't know if she's still there, but shout out to her anyways. Who sort of recognized that I had like a deeper like passion for art and at a young age, and so she had recommended me to SAC, which starts from 6th grade. That's where it begins, in 6th grade. So it wasn't until 7th grade that I had her, and she had recommended that I go and apply. But I didn't get accepted my first time. For whatever reason. It was like a lot smaller when I first went there in middle school, and it's grown tremendously ever since, and it's still continuing to growing. So it wasn't until 8th grade I tried again the next year in 8th grade, and they accepted me, and ever since 8th grade I went all the way through high school, and eventually graduated from there as well. So it was amazing.
Damn,
yeah.
And then from, I guess, after high school you went to UTSA?
After high school, I'm currently in UTSA now, and I feel it feels like forever since then. But I definitely went the community college route. So I was at St. Philip's, and then I was also at SAC as well. I got my associates at SAC, and now I'm currently enrolled at UTSA. But it was a long. It's still happening right now. It's been a long journey, but like I'm making excuses or whatever. But I'm just like not the most like academic friendly person. I hate school. I've always never just liked it. I've always just sort of just like floated on by, and it's always been enough. You know what I mean? And now at this point, I just kind of want a degree. But school has been an excellent experience, regardless of what I'm saying. Like,
I love school, and I love the people you meet.
Yeah, absolutely. That's always like fun. But just like the whole process of it.
Enjoy, all the classes. Mm-hmm. I don't know anyone who does enjoy every single class.
Yeah, exactly.
There's probably very few out there, but I enjoy the people and the interactions you have at school.
Absolutely.
And I've been fortunate to meet some really awesome, amazing people, amazing artists, and also have some really amazing professors that get me to think differently or look at something else in a different perspective. And the classes I was taking at SAC really helped influence, different paths I've kind of traveled down with my art. As far as like sculpture, that's something that I learned in my sculpture class, was just to take up space, like engulf the viewer. Yeah. In the work, and now I'm in Luminaria. This year.
Yeah, so congratulations to that, dude. Shout out Luminaria.
Thanks, Yeah, dude. Oh, yeah, Luminaria.
Luminaria is happening, guys.
Yeah, November 9th, and I'm gonna be featured this year. So
y'all should check that out. It's gonna be a great show.
I'm super pumped about that. But school, I'm not a huge fan of going to school. Yeah. But I like the people and the things.
Yeah, and also like I think subliminally it also like has an impact on like your visual outcome in art, like your ideas, because what you're learning about, or I guess depends on your major, but for me it's like an environmental background, so like environmental awareness and acknowledgement of those issues are always sort of relevant in a lot of my works as well.
Well, see, I guess this is a thing I have against school. Like, if you surround yourself with smarter people, or even if you surround yourself with people that have got their doctors or their masters in art, like, I think you can learn way more from just being around them. Yeah. Than going to school. Yeah. And having those conversations. Like, I was able to be around Steve DeLuce all the time, and if you're not familiar with Steve DeLuce and you're an artist in San Antonio, it's like you need to be involved. Get involved. Get to know this guy, because he's put me on to artists that like are living, that I find like they're just blow me away with the stuff that they're creating. Yeah. And Steve's so tied into like artists around the world. Yeah. That are creating like masterpieces. Yeah. And in school, I understand, like, they're going to teach you about the people that are, that have been great. Yeah. Or were the masters.
The history. But you can't talk to those people, though. But you can't talk to these dead people.
Like, I talked to Steve DeLuce, and he's introduced me to, like, some of these artists, and it's like, you can still get that at school, too, but, like, being in the field and being actually at these openings and just being open to talk to people. Yeah. Like, school is cool. Like, it could work for anybody, but I feel to be even more knowledge or have even more knowledge about.
It's the hands-on experience.
Yeah, it's the hands-on experience.
That's always, and that's the kind of learner that I am, honestly. Like, and I guess that's sort of like what I've struggled with over time, because I'm really bad at studying, and I just don't like to study. If you show me how to do it, I'm gonna go ahead and do that like 100%, and over time I'll make it even better. You know what I mean? Like, I just like. That's just not how I get in a lot of artists function either.
That's how it was when I did have a job. I was working in a lot of office positions, and a lot of sales oriented jobs. They have like scripts that they give you. Yeah. And say follow this
guideline
and all this stuff. Well, if you're good, you can make it your own. Yeah. And just kind of go along those lines, and some of the people that I work with that might listen, like, will know, like, how, I think you could even see it now, during the openings, or, you see me out with my art. Yeah. It's like, I have this way of talking to people that I could just, be really open with them. Yeah. And invite them to be, friends, or, build a rapport.
Yeah, it's important quality.
And, I forgot exactly where I was going with it, but, learning on the field, and making those mistakes, and learning from those, because I wasn't very good when I first started some of my sales positions, but due to all the failures that I had, I was able to learn.
Yeah.
To what worked. And
You can definitely take positive, the negative experiences and, develop them and make them into better ones and learn from them.
So Chaos Within.
The Germany, like.
Germany.
So yeah, I didn't even get to finish the story about that. So yeah, the Darmstadt representatives eventually, we had mentioned earlier that I was from SAC. They had eventually made their way down to SAC, and they fell in love with the art program, and so they talked to SAC and they talked to the city of San Antonio, and they basically let them know that there's this graffiti movement happening in the city of Darmstadt at the Lincoln Wall. And for the listeners, the Lincoln Wall used to be a U.S. military base, and it's this huge wall, like over 700 feet long. It's like maybe 10 feet high, maybe even more. And they wanted an artist from SAC to go out overseas and participate in the project. And so I was one of the lucky ones that they recommended. I got a call from Ashley Sanchez, who is also a really well-known artist here in San Antonio. Shout out to Ashley, who had recommended me to go ahead and go over there. So it had to be an alumni, obviously. I don't think having like a high school or middle school kid travel.
Or just something.
Yeah. So I just felt like I've been sort of training for it all my life. Like I was for those of you that don't know, I was like a Boy Scout for X amount of time, and just always just had like an adventurous mindset and mentality of like just traveling and like a discovery. Like for me, that's what it was, like a discovery, like an explorer or something, like going overseas and traveling the unknown. Like even though we have the internet access now, we can like look at it on Google Maps and map it all out in our head. It was still extremely scary for me because I'm a small kid from the southeast side of San Antonio. Like it's kind of hard to imagine like just going overseas and just making that happen.
San Antonio went?
I was the only one from America there. Yeah, like I was the only one from the United States that went ahead and represented there at the Lincoln Wall Jam. And it was actually kind of funny. I'll tell you a little story. After I was done with the wall, there was this old German woman who I kind of knew was not necessarily upset, but she was kind of concerned about my work, or she was saying a lot of things in German, and I had one of my friends there. I was like, hey man, so what did she end up saying? And she was like, man, she basically what she said was she knew it wasn't from Europe. And I was just like, well, I guess that's kind of a good thing. Like, she looked a little upset, but I was like, well, at least she knows it's not from Europe. Like, and I'm bringing something different, and obviously like looks different. Like,
yeah.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. Like, it was kind of cool in a way.
Did you travel to Germany alone? Like I seen.
Yeah, I was alone, dude. Yeah, and people kept on referring to that movie, like, oh, like yeah, don't do that, like don't do this and that. Oh man, I got advice from everybody. Like,
raves.
Yeah.
And, go leave with strange people.
Yeah, like oh my goodness, like you're not the only one that had said that. Like honestly, I mean, kind of. I mean, if I'm being quite honest, I won't beat around the bush about it. I mean, for a little while, I was afraid, but I was definitely blessed. Like immediately after when I got off the plane, I was greeted by a Darmstadt official, and showed me around or whatever. And then literally the next day, my actual point of contacts, the people that were doing the graffiti initiative, Philly and Andy, shout out to them. They're the ones, like, say for instance, like on my first official day there, they were the ones that like really like made me feel at home and made me feel safe. They were like true, like genuine point of contacts. Always made sure that I was good, and I had take me around, whatever. They always made sure that I felt safe and I was at home, which was great. And so it was as if, say somebody from overseas were to come over and you were to take them around. Like, this is what I would do. Like it wasn't necessarily like such like an official, like, we have an agenda, we're gonna hit this and this. They were like younger, my age, like around 25. They took me around. like if there's any one stereotype that's true about Germany is that the people love to drink there. It's their culture, you know what I mean? And so we were drinking out there in the streets and still like looking up the historical landmarks and
Dark beer?
Actually, there wasn't like we weren't really drinking dark beer out there. We were drinking like some pilsners, their local beer. They had me try like their local beer. Like one of the brands was called Gouda. That was like their go-to. But it wasn't so dark. It was like kind of like nice and refreshing. It was just like solid beer. You know, it wasn't like too bitter or anything. It was just like something you can drink during the day. And not get full of it and like still be like kind of awake and
so
like,
one of my friends is from Germany. My friend Andre, he's actually in Florida right now. He's getting his doctor's in physics.
Oh,
and
genius!
Yeah, and I was talking to him yesterday, but it was one time we were having this conversation about Germany because he has family there and he goes there at least once a year, and he was just telling me stories about how good the beer is.
Yeah.
Over there.
No, I mean it was great. I mean it was fantastic. Like there's no arguing with that.
I love dark beer. So when I had told him that, he was like, "Dude, that's the best place to drink dark beer." Is over there. So
I'm pretty sure I had them. Like, and there was a couple nights I was a little tipsy. I won't lie. Like, but nice. As for of just like the day drinking beer, it was. I don't think it was so dark. Like it was easy to consume. Yeah.
All right. So now you're back from Germany. What are some of the projects or what are some things that you have in mind for next?
Moving forward, and even before that I had left, I want to start using, and I have two pieces that were sort of like trial runs. Moving forward, I kind of want to try and use like recycled materials as canvases for my paintings and even sculptures at that point. And so right now I'm just trying to gather new materials, new recycled materials, and work with how I'm going to bring it all together. And after that, I feel like with the two works that I have right now, I have a good like idea of the direction that I want to go. And using this past show that's here at Southtown Art Gallery, and using those ideas and refining them, like I had mentioned, I'm very influenced by environmental issues. I'm interested in like the form of the human body, and trying to mend those two together with found items and recycled materials, mending all those worlds together and sort of trying to create. I guess essentially just mending all those worlds together in a new medium, like with recycled materials. So.
If you could send me a link or image, because one of those pieces was actually in the Black Sheep show.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, that's actually what. Yeah, exactly. The two sort of like trial run pieces. We're in the actually before I left to Germany actually. I was featured in a group show, Pollination, at the Parish Arts Gallery. And so basically, like I had mentioned, I used all recycled materials. I used like some, I guess like
fence.
Yeah, some raw fence, like and some discarded sheetrock and some other items. And I basically created like this almost like dead, barren, like desert-like landscape on them. And basically those pieces were representing like the possibility of continuing to pollute the world, like what it will look like looking from the outside in. We were basically like fenced off, looking into this landscape and realizing that everything was dead. It's kind of intense. But yeah.
Honestly, when I first saw that piece, it reminded me of that Resident Evil Apocalypse
movie.
Because that one of the last scenes, it's
murky
like
and
white desert thing with the fence kind of covering that area. And immediately when I saw that, I kind of like thought of that because they have like sand dunes in the background.
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
They look dead. And even with the fence, I thought it was super cool that you added that fence into this landscape.
Definitely.
And it's illuminated too.
Yeah. So like I incorporated like this. It's up to interpretation. It could be a moon, it can be a sun, but basically I had put like this. I have this like metallic gold paint that I had like lying around the studio, and so I used that in one of the like, I guess like if you're gonna make an image in your head, I basically made this mountain, and there was like the sun in front of it, and behind the actual work itself, I planted like a small little light bulb. So essentially, it looked like the sun or moon light was like shining a light on the landscape. So it kind of like, and I was also actually like moving forward, like in trying new materials. Like that was the first time in a long time that I've used like a any type of light source in the work itself. So it was kind of interesting. It was like, is it a sculpture? Is it a painting? Like so like I said, mending those ideas together and techniques is the next step that I want to take, and I think that was a pretty cool way of doing that.
No, I love where it's going, and I think fans of your work and people that have been following you are really digging this evolution that that you're going through. I think that we all go through as artists.
Yeah,
people
everybody's going through it. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So, working on that series.
And what about yourself? Like, do you have anything like?
Honestly, so I'm getting married in September.
Congratulations!
I'm getting married in September, having our baby.
A lot's going on right now for you. Like a lot is going on for this guy.
It's a lot of stuff, but also, it's a blessing too, because these opportunities are just coming left and right, and I don't take any of them for granted. For granted. And even being able to do this podcast, I thought about it, and I think I told you about it too. Before.
Yeah, you definitely told me about it before. Like,
finding the projects that I really want to do and really want to do well, which is a whole bunch of them. But I think after finding out that I'm going to be a father, it was like, okay, I'm going to only cut down to like 5 projects. Yeah. And once I do 3 projects, or once I do all the projects, then I could put more projects on my plate. Yeah. So one of the projects that I'm currently working on right now is to do a really large mural for this neighborhood near 410 and I-10, and it's going to be a huge mural. It's going to be a part of this like pavilion, so it's going to incorporate like wabi-sabis, and on one wall it's going to be like devoted to like the history of that neighborhood, and also pay respects to one of the ex-presidents of that neighborhood organization, and doing a lot of research for that, because in early 1950s they started developing that area. Yeah. So where the pavilion is located, it actually used to be like this like stable area for like horses and stuff. So like it's really cool. A lot of really cool.
Just the way it was kind of built too was just like kind of like interesting. Like
and it came. This opportunity happened because one of my collectors and friends loves my work, and she talked about my work to the rest of the people on that committee, and they gave me an opportunity to have a meeting with them, and they shared their ideas, and I had the iPad Pro now, and it allowed me to take notes, take some pictures, and
you can draw on those pictures. That's insane. Oh my god,
that's and they love the concept that I brought, and incorporating their ideas, which is when working on murals, I think you can work on murals for many different reasons. Yeah. Some people give you the freedom to do what you want, but in this case, they have very specific ideas that they want executed. So being able to take their ideas and
your ideas too, that's the sweet spot.
It's gonna be a really big deal. And one of the ideas I have for this project is I want to try to get the mural to maybe like 80% completion, and for the wabi sabi section, I want to incorporate the community to help finish it.
That's not. Oh man, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Like, so
they feel a part of it. They have like it's tangible to them. So this is our mural. Like
if you have a child, or let's say you just move into that area, you get to come to this event, be a part of like the finishing of this mural for that area.
It's your mural. I mean, it's the people's mural, or like like it's your community's mural. Like
by owning a home there, living in that area, like how cool is that to like drive by a building.
I helped with that. Yeah. It's a great
part of it, and especially for the kids, because I already know like it's a really inviting family event where you could take your kids, and with the wabi sabi it's not difficult because it's solid color. So I could give someone a paintbrush and a solid color, and I could say, hey, just focus on this section, and even if someone were to mess up, or not even mess up, but just go out of the guidelines,
desired color,
then it won't be difficult for me to fix it.
Go right in there.
So
exactly.
That's one of my biggest. Other than Luminaria, that's one of my other biggest
projects.
Next projects for this year.
Nice.
And other than that, I think we'll pretty much wrap it up. I think we got some good stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I want to thank you so much for
coming,
you, because it was kind of like last minute.
I like doing this stuff. I would love to. Yeah, anytime to you.
So tell people one more time. I guess your full name and where they can find your stuff. Yes.
So my full name is Luke Martinez. It's abbreviated Luma. That's my artist persona. You can find me on Instagram, and I have my website as well, lumaarts.weebly.com. My Instagram link also has that link available. So that's Luma_SA Texas on Instagram, and you can find my contact information through there as well.
Yep. So once again, guys, it's me, Albert Gonzalez, Trebla Art. For some of you, you're listening to Trebla Art podcast. We just finished speaking with Luke. I want to thank you all for listening and taking the time to hear us talk about art and life and everything else.
Yeah.
So be sure to follow me on YouTube, Trebla Art. On Instagram, it's Trebla_art, and you could also visit my website, AlbertGonzalezArt.com. It's Gonzalez with an S at the end. AlbertGonzalezArt.com. It was great talking, Luke. Once again, thank you all for listening.
Absolutely.
And we'll see y'all later.